The Houston Cougars wrapping things up here. Kind of disappointing, but again, Houston's just another team where, given the player availability issues, the ups and downs of the season, I don't know. It's gonna look a little strange. But 3-3 against conference opponents, 3-5 overall. Clayton Tune is back, but is Clayton Tune the dude? We got a couple of options there that might push in for playing time. I think the offensive line last year we saw really miss the likes of Josh Jones and Jared Williams because the offensive line was bad. We are also this year on the defensive side of the ball looking to replace Peyton Turner, a 3-year starter on that defensive line who was a really, really good player. He is going to be missed. This is the first year after, Dana Holgorsen comes and there's the whole red shirting. We're trying to tank and we're trying to reload the roster. Well, this year 3, this is whatever the roster is a reflection of you as a head coach. So what are we looking at this spring for a Houston team that has yet to, outside of very, very specific blips throughout these 2 seasons with Dana Holgorsen, has yet to really recapture what we believe to be that program ceiling.
Yeah, this is, like you said, this is Dana's 3rd year at Houston, and I still don't know what the hell Dana's Houston is supposed to be. And some of that was in control, like the whole red shirting stuff, during his first season, but then out of the control last year when they had so many games postponed because of COVID that they had to push back. And their entire season was so disrupted. So in a way, this is kind of like year 1 for the Cougars under Dana Holgorsen, where we finally get an idea of what the plan is and what the approach is going to be and how things are supposed to work. Because their first 3 games were all postponed last year. They finally get out against Tulane, and they were surprisingly, they played pretty well in that Tulane game, considering all the circumstances. They won the game. Then they lost. They got crushed by BYU. And I feel like that was kind of a theme. If you look at their wins, they beat Tulane. They beat Navy, which wasn't a great Navy team last year, and they beat up on a bad USF team. But in their losses, they got crushed by BYU. They got crushed by UCF. They got crushed by Cincinnati. They lost close to Memphis, and they lost to Hawaii by 2 scores in the bowl game. So just based on the results, my feeling is there's still quite a bit of work left to be done here for Dana. And I feel like going into this 3rd season, I don't know if the school's going to be approaching it as a year 1 situation. So I do think that this is a very important spring for them to get things in order, to get things figured out and get the game plan together for what might be their first legitimate season together as head coach and roster.
Okay, I found it. Cool. I was looking for this quote. So Houston president Ranu Kador, this is back in 2016. She's on record as saying the winning is defined at University of Houston as 10-2. She told faculty and staff at an annual holiday party at her home. I'm reading from an SB Nation article here by Stephen Godfrey. We fire coaches at 8-4 at Houston. I mean, that's pretty interesting.
Cut and dry.
Yeah. This team is so hard for me to read.
Yeah.
And they got in a lot of games, but something I notice here, just when I'm looking at their sheet, I don't think you could find me any team in the country that played 8 games. 4 of the games, they had a 90+% win expectancy. The other 4, they were single digits or 0. This is crazy. And it was like ping pong. I mean, 100% against Tulane, 7% against BYU, 89% against Navy, 0% against UCF, 0% Cincinnati, 100% USF, 93% Memphis, 6% rather against Hawaii. There was nothing. There was no in between. They were either really pretty damn good or just didn't show up. I don't know how to read that. I think Tune is fine, but is there something else going on there? And I don't want to suggest cultural issues or anything, but that's strange. And I don't know, man, I'm having a hard time reading this team as to what this is. And I think this is one of those things that, hell, does this staff even know what they have? Maybe they do.
And listen, if there's a coaching change at Houston, would you be surprised?
No.
Because
I don't know what the buyout is, but probably not.
I mean, there's too many other, not only are there no answers, not only are we uncertain about what we're looking at, but there's not a lot of vertical movement. If you don't have your act together, then you're just going to flounder in the middle of this conference. Right?
Yeah. And if you look at their schedule this year isn't terrible. So maybe there's a chance for some improvement because they open with Texas Tech, and I don't know that they're in a position to win that game, but they get Rice, they get Grambling. They could be 3-0, not inconceivably going into conference play. So I don't know. I think it's funny. I put them on when we were discussing teams to talk. I sent Houston on the list, and I immediately thought to myself, "Oh, I shouldn't have included Houston because I literally have
because I don't know anything.
No idea what the hell's going to happen with that team."
I mean, even as I dug around, I found a lot of shrugs. So I mean, that's
the thing too. Like all Houston media has been covering right now is the basketball team, so there's really not a whole lot to find on the football team right now either.
Yeah. But I mean, it's Dana Holgorsen. So what if this flames out, or if it jumps, or if it spikes, or if they continue to ping pong, they will at least be of interest. That is without a doubt.